The Yankees just took a series from Texas, winning the first game 7-4, losing 6-1 in game 2, and winning game 3 9-2. But this series wasn't about the scores. It was about something we haven't consistently seen from this team: resilience. Because in game 1, they were down early against one of the best pitchers in baseball. And in game 3, everything went wrong way before the game even got going. And they still found a way to win. And that matters. In game 1, we end up winning 7-4. Elmer Rodriguez had his first start at Yankee Stadium. I'm sure he still had nerves. Goes 4.2 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. All 3 runs came in the first inning. I'm sure he still had those jitters. I can't imagine the first time putting on the pinstripes in the Bronx. But it wasn't a great start, but at least he limited the damage in that first inning and didn't let up anything else after that. We ended up having home runs from McMahon, Jazz, and Goldie, coming back from down 3-0 to tie it by the end of the second inning. The game was tied. And this is going up against Jacob deGrom. So that's a hell of a performance in the first game of this series to end up winning that game. Game 2, we end up losing 6-1. For some reason, we just cannot figure out Eovaldi. He's beaten us twice now in 2 weeks. Warren went 4 innings, had 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. It was not a great performance, but luckily we know with Warren, he will have bad games here and there. We saw this last year. This is one of the reasons why I wouldn't necessarily trust him as a starter in the playoffs. I think if and when it gets to that point, we would go with the 4-man rotation. As long as everybody's healthy, it would be Fried, Schlittler, Cole, and Rodon. But unfortunately, this was one of his bad outings. And the Yankees' offense was totally shut down by Eovaldi. There were 3 hits total for the Yankees in the entire game. One of those hits was the Aaron Judge solo home run. That was the one small, tiny, bright spot in that game. Game 3, we end up winning 9-2. And this was important because Weathers was scratched from the start the night before because of an illness. We had Blackburn open, pitched 1 inning. Beck then makes his MLB debut. He goes 3 innings, gives up 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 1 strikeout. Domínguez was injured on the very first out of the game. He made an incredible catch, which the knock on Domínguez was his defense. He makes a great catch going full speed into the wall. So far, from what I hear, he's going to go on the IL. He has an issue with his left shoulder. He is not showing signs of a concussion, though. So that's the good news. But either way, you've got your starting pitcher scratched. Your left fielder got injured. Ben Rice hasn't played this whole series and the last game against the Orioles because of his thumb. Stanton's on the IL. You got a lot of injuries to overcome here. We're down 2-1 in the 6th inning. The Yankees score 6 runs to take a 7-2 lead. End up winning the game 9-2. No home runs. So we did this all without the long ball. We end up winning the series 2-1. But look at the pattern. You have 1 comeback win, 1 flat loss, and 1 adversity win. That's not just performance, that's a response. So let's look at what held. Well, number one, the resilience of this team. The resilience of this team is the story of this series. And it is trending upwards. To start out game one down 3-0 in the first inning against Jacob deGrom, most teams fold right there. You see who you're going against, you have no shot. The Yankees did not. In game three, again, the starters scratched. You've got injuries in your lineup. Domínguez is out almost immediately. And we still score 9 runs. That's not normal. The second thing that held was offensive response after failure. In game 2, the offense failed. We were totally shut down, again, by Eovaldi. There's a chance that we do see Texas in the playoffs, and we're going to have to figure him out. But we get shut down in game 2. Game 3, the offense comes right back, and with a lot of guys who don't normally play, and score 9 runs. That's growth. And number 3 is the ability to win when the plan breaks. And this is new, because the script didn't go their way, and they adjusted. Normally, we need a amazing outing by the starting pitcher. The offense scores some runs early, and we are just good to go. That didn't happen in this series. We had to come back in games. We had to win with our B team. And we did that in 2 out of 3 games. And that's how you have to go along throughout the regular season, is just win the series. Yeah, you had one bad game, but you won those 2. You won the series. And especially in a game like today, this most recent game, that you weren't necessarily supposed to win. So what did not hold in this series? Well, that would be the consistency. Getting completely shut down in game 2 shows that the offense can still disappear. And we saw it more often early in the season. The last few weeks, the offense has looked great. We hit a road bump. The offense, aside from Judge hitting that solo home run, was gone. Luckily, it was only one game. The second thing that didn't hold was stability, game to game. Obviously, the last few series, the last one against the Orioles, where we're scoring 7, 9, 11, 12 runs, was great. And then this series, you're facing some better pitching, and you have a high, a low, and a high. So, again, the stability is fluctuating a little bit. You love to see that more consistent, especially against these good teams. So did they respond? The answer to this is clear. Yes. And not just in one way. They responded within games, with their comeback in game 1 off of deGrom. They responded after failure, because they got shut down in game 2 and still put up 9 runs in game 3. And they responded under chaos, starting out game 3, A, without your starter, and B, to an injury to your left fielder on the first out of the game. And that's different, because before, we saw it a lot early in the season. Everything had to go right. We had to rely on the superb starting pitching. This series, we did not get superb starting pitching. And we still found a way to win multiple games and win the series. So now, they're finding ways to win even when things go wrong. what was the turning point of the series? Well, I would say very early in the series, game 1, after we fell behind 3-0. Because after we fall behind 3-0, that moment defines this series. You're facing deGrom, there's an early deficit, and that's when teams decide who they are. And the Yankees didn't panic, they didn't shut down, they stayed in it, and they flipped the game. They were able to hit multiple home runs and score 6 runs off of deGrom, which not a lot of teams can do. So let's look at player performances. What was the positive from this series? I would say the team-wide response on offense. It wasn't just one player. Like, in game 2, yeah, Judge is the only one that got the home run. But the series as a whole, in game 1, we had 3 different players hit home runs. McMahon, Jazz, and Goldschmidt. And that helped us beat one of the best pitchers in the game. In this most recent game, game 3, there were no home runs. You had guys just hitting consistently, getting on base, taking walks, and then getting the big hits when it mattered. Grisham had a bases-clearing double in the 6th inning that started the scoring, that opened the floodgates. So it wasn't one player. It was situational hitting, putting pressure on the other team's pitchers, and it was depth in the lineup stepping up. I mean, look at McMahon. McMahon wasn't even supposed to be in the game today. But because of Dominguez's injury, he gets slotted in, and he gets multiple hits. And this is how resilient teams win. The only concern that came out of this series was the offensive floor. It still exists, and it's still a risk. We have to see how this plays out throughout the season, obviously. If you get shut down in one game, no big deal. But we've seen from this team in the past where you get shut down by one starting pitcher and half the team goes into a month-long slump. So that's what we're trying to avoid. And that's what I was worried about going into the 3rd game. Luckily, the bats woke up in that 6th inning and it wasn't a problem. But to see that we can get completely shut down by a pitcher who, honestly, before facing the Yankees last week, his ERA was 5+. So it's not even like he's an elite pitcher, but when he faces the Yankees, he becomes that elite pitcher. And we need to find a way to not let that happen to us. So that offensive floor, it still can be very low, and that's what Game 2 showed us. That is the concern. What is trending right now is our resilience and the adaptability. And this is the biggest shift. Like I said, it's the big story of this series. It's the fact that this team can respond. And I've covered all the ways that they responded, but just to see that resilience is something different than what we've seen early on in the season so far. If we zoom out and look at the structural check, what is aligned right now? Well, our ability to respond is improving greatly. The offensive depth is finally showing. Early on in the season, we had 5 guys in our starting lineup hitting below 200. Most of those guys that were hitting below 500 have brought their averages up. Caballero was hot the entire back end of April coming into early May. Ryan McMahon has really turned it on lately, getting his average over 200. So, seeing those guys actually be able to hit and contribute, Grisham getting that bases clearing double. And I think moving him down in the lineup probably is better for him than just leading off. Because he does tend to hit better when there are guys on base. Which, there's nobody on base when you're leading off. So, I do think that dropping him down in the lineup is probably a good strategy moving forward. But again, the depth is finally starting to show in this lineup. It's not just relying on Aaron Judge and Ben Rice hitting home runs. And the other thing that's aligned is this team adaptability is real. And again, we saw that in this most recent game. There were a lot of moving parts, a lot of injuries that we've overcome, illnesses, and to put up 9 runs is just an incredible feat. So, what still needs improving? Well, that would be sustained consistency. Because again, it wasn't like we won that comeback in Game 1, we lost a close one in Game 2, and then we had this response in Game 3. No, our offense got completely shut down in Game 2. So we really would love to see a more consistent offense against these good teams, against these better pitchers. And then we still need to win cleanly without the volatility. Again, I've said it a few times. We saw a lot of ups and downs in this series. Luckily, more up than down. So the big takeaway is this team is starting to show multiple ways to win. And we said it where the pitching was always great to start the year. I mean, Fried and Schlittler, they didn't pitch in this series. We'll see them in the next series, but the offense was finally starting to contribute and win games on their own. Now we're seeing the ability to overcome a weaker starting pitching and win through injuries and illness. And that is a major step. So what did we learn from this series? Well, number 1, they can handle adversity. And this is new. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but early in the season when you would have the great starts from Fried, Schlittler, Warren, Weathers, and then you would have Heel come out and not have a great game. And when he didn't have a great game, the offense shut down. We weren't winning those games. Now, you see some things that are happening that are unexpected. We didn't expect to have Blackburn opening, Beck pitching 3 innings. And the team just handled it. So, this handling adversity is new for this team. Number 2, the second thing we learned is that they don't need perfect conditions to win. And again, this is also new because it used to be follow the script of great pitching, decent hitting early, and now we're just finding ways to win regardless of the situation, the injuries, who's on the mound, who's up at bat. They're finding ways to win, which is really exciting as a fan. And the third thing we learned is that the ceiling is expanding again. Because this time it's not just about the talent of the team, where we were questioning, is the bottom of this lineup ever going to hit? because it was almost a full month of not being able to hit. Now we see that they can hit. And now we see that they can hit when they need to. They can hit when they're down. They can come through in big spots. They can respond. So let's go to this trend line. What is trending up? It's the resilience. Again, that's what this series was about. The resilience is off the charts from what I saw in this 3-game series. The offense, I would say, still trending up. The fact that we won 2 of those games, 7-4 and 9-2. We had the dud in the middle. So I would say the consistency, I wouldn't say is high or low. I would say that's trending flat. But the offense, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And our identity is evolving. So what should we watch for in this next series against Milwaukee? Well, number 1 is, can they sustain this resilience? 1 series isn't enough. That could be an anomaly. If they can do this through multiple series, I mean, who knows how long Domínguez is going to be out. Or if Rice is going to be back in the lineup. They said it was a no big deal, and now he hasn't played in the last 4 games. So, is it actually no big deal? The fact that Domínguez just went on the IL, who are they going to bring up to replace him? Do we see Spencer Jones? Are we going to see Oswaldo Cabrera? That'll be interesting to see. Second thing to watch for is this offense going to stabilize? And that's the swing factor. We saw it against Baltimore. We did not see a stable offense in this series. Can we see the offense hit consistently again in this series against Milwaukee? And number 3 is, can they avoid the drop-off game? A loss like we had in Game 2 needs to go away. We can lose close games. I mean, we're going to lose games. That's baseball. But to get blown out like that, you never want to see your team get blown out. Especially if they're serious about the season, if they're serious about contending, if they're serious about a championship. Blowout losses like that are not a good sign. Luckily, we bounced back in Game 3. But can we avoid losses like that? We'll look for that in the next series. So the final verdict, here's the truth. Good teams win when things go right. Better teams win when things go wrong. And in this series, the Yankees showed that they're starting to become the second team. But it's not about showing it once, it's about sustaining it. That's the standard. Not just how good you are, but how you respond when you're not. This is The Standard with Brian Leavy.